Hey everyone, it's Julian, and we have a very fun video today. I am talking about my 16 and counting win streak puppet portal list. This is a very fun list. You guys know I really like puppets, and all of the new cards and the returning characters I really enjoy. So I'm really happy that puppets has been pretty good for me so far. We faced a large variety of the meta decks. It doesn't feel like this deck has any super big weaknesses, and I would say this is more of a aggressive variant. We do have some cards and some changes that I will make once we lose the win streak, but this is, of course, the deck list that I'm, doing really well with, so, don't fix what's not broken, right? And then, of course, we're going to, after talking about the deck, go into our classic replay review. I'm going to break down one of my games that I played and talk about my thoughts and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully this is informative, and hopefully this gets you guys to try Puppet Portal, because I'm really enjoying it. And it's basically on the top of my list to play in the SVO next weekend, which is the first big Shadowverse tournament for us out here in the West. So if you guys are excited for this video, if you guys are excited for some of that content coming out, we're going to be talking about a lot of competitive stuff. We're going to be talking about how to prepare for big tournaments, and we're also going to be talking about closer to the event, the best decks to bring for that event, right? So if you guys are excited for that, please leave a like and subscribe. That would be really awesome. But let's get into the video. We're going to do a deck breakdown first, and then we're going to go into a replay review. So let's get it started. So here we go at the 1-drop slot. We have this new Twin Blade Goblin neutral card, 1-drop 1/1. On play, if there's a super evolved allied follower on the field, select the enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage. So this card is really nice on 1 going first, right? It's like a tempo play on first, and there's a lot of aggro bits going around, so you're really able to contest the board early. Most of the time, they are going to coin a 2-drop, right? So this kind of doesn't have a ton of value there, but he's still a pretty good card, and then he translates into the late game with Super Evolves, right? If you Super Evolve something like, say you go Super Evolve Sylvia, and you're on 7 and you just need, a little bit more damage, or you need to clear something else, you'll play Twin Blade Goblin, clear something, and then, clear most boards. Really nice in that aspect. I will say he's basically #1 card I'm going to cut once we lose this win streak, right? I think that he just is only good literally on the first turn of the game, and then he's only sometimes good later on in the game, because most of the time we want to be super evolving Orcus, right? So we only have 2 super evolves. We want to be super evolving Orcus, and most of the time we have puppets in our hand that do the Goblin's job, right? Because the Goblin's job is extra removal. And then obviously with Orcus, all of our puppets get Bane, so we can just remove anything, right? So I do think he's pretty weak in that aspect. I think he's just one of the weaker cards in the deck, and I don't think the value of having an on play or a turn 1 play is that good in this deck, because we have so many good 2-drops that we're really able to gain the tempo back from not playing a turn 1 play. And even then, like, turn 1 plays just aren't that good because they just get stuffed by so much stuff because they're only 1 health thing. So Twin Blade Goblin, he's in the deck right now because this is the deck that's, has a lot of success. I don't want to, don't fix what's, not broken, right? But I would not play this card. I don't think this card is that strong. Then we move on to the Fighter. This is a more aggressive puppets list, so we're playing this turn 2 that could also be a turn 4 play. We don't have a ton of other good turn 4 plays anyway. That's actually a turn that a lot of decks in the game are missing right now. On play without an Evo point, right? Turn 4 play, and this Fighter kind of makes up for it, and I really like the Indomitable Fighter. You guys will know he's one of my favorite cards from the first. I guess he wasn't from set 1, but from the basic set. Then we have Fildow. Of course, he's just, one of the better 2-drop Evo targets. He just is really good at all stages of the game if you have an Evo point, and because we are playing more of an aggressive version, we don't have to hoard Evo points as much as we do when we're playing a ton of the late game stuff. So we can very easily just play him out and Evo him, and of course he's just a fighter on curve. Then we have the one of Hinekar and Jafner, very similar to the Fildau, but I like Hinekar and Jafner because they save us Evo points in the late game. After turn 5, we're going to be able to play this card raw and El Evo, and then be a lot of removal. I really like this card, but we just have it at 1 because it doesn't come up too much. But yeah, I really like Hinekar and Jafner, and whenever it does come up, it is really nice. So that is that. Then we move on to the portal cards. All of the puppet stuff is here. We have the Puppet Lancer, the 2-drop 2/1. Give us an enhanced puppet. Obviously, I do think this card is a little weaker right now on curve because of Agrobis running around. They have a lot of 1-attack 1-drops, right? And then Sword has a lot of, Prim can swing into this easy, which is their turn 2 play a lot of the times. And then, of course, they have the Luminous Lance Trooper and everything like that. So I do think this card is a little weak on curve, but of course it's an amazing, resource generation. Enhanced Puppet is really good in the early game and at all stages of the game, right? So you still want to play this guy, but he's not the first 2-drop I would play in a game, and I would say try to look for your other 2-drops because you have so many 2-drops in the deck, and I do think this is one of the weaker on curve 2-drops. But he's really good later in the game, right? So yeah, then we have one of the best 2-drops in the entire game, the Lovestruck Puppeteer. Give you a puppet in hand, and then on evolve, he's going to give you another puppet. So just a really good card. One of the better portal cards for sure. Then we have the Puppet Theater. Agrobis is running around. So this card really stops their early aggression, paired with another 2-drop, right? And yeah, this card is just really good. Gives you a lot of puppets in hand. And of course, we have the Medical Grade Assassin, that same early to mid-game removal, and then in the late game, he's able to combo with some of your 6-drops and 5-drops to really deal with a lot of boards. Really good card there. Then we have Yudi, the tempo sort of 3-drop. This card is very strong, helps us dig to our best cards in the deck, right? The Orcus, the Odin as well is in this deck, right? So really like Yudi. I think that this is one of the better cards in the deck, and the Evo effect actually comes up a lot now because in a lot of matchups, of course, you need to dig into your deck for Orcus and everything, right? But we are seeing a lot of aggro running around and sort of like tempo, more aggressively slanted decks with the Odins, right? And so having a card that's a little bit of healing actually comes up a lot if you Evo this card. And like we said, we're able to use our Evos more often than the old version of Puppets, right? Because we are not so built into this, okay, we got to get to the end game with all of our Evo points and Evo Orcus and Evo Liam. So now we're able to sort of just say, hey, we have a lot of cards that don't need Evo points, right? Which is a plus, but we're not like, oh my gosh, I can't use Evo points at all in the early game, right? So Yudi, Evo is going to come up a lot more than it did in the first set, I would say. Then we have a new card, Zwei. Zwei, of course, is one of my favorite old characters from Rage of Bahamut and Shadowverse. 5-drop 3/3, summon a Victoria, and then whenever an allied puppetry follower comes into play, give it ward. So Victoria, of course, is the 6/1 rush follower strike, deal X damage to the opposing follower. X is this follower's attack. This card is very reactionary, right? Like this is not a very good tempo play. Or just like to play out for value, right? Because Victoria's only a 6/1. It does have a ward, right? But it's also only a 3/3. But it gains you so much value on those turn 5 plays because you're able to remove so many opponent boards, right? Really love this card. This card is good on every turn of the game, basically, after turn 5 or turn 5 and onwards, right? And it's basically just a nuke. Like, Victoria will just do 12 damage to anything. And then, of course, you can Evo Zwei to clear out some other stuff. But the other interesting thing is the giving the puppetry followers ward actually kind of comes up a lot. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of scenarios where you can go, okay, Zwei, and play a bunch of zero-cost puppets and really block some lethal plays, especially with Odin running around, right? So when you play Zwei, you're going to get the Victoria. She'll have ward, and hopefully you're able to keep the Victoria, right? You don't have to kill like a 12 health thing or 10 health thing, right? And then you can go, okay, I'm reading that they might play Odin here. Let me play out 1 or 2 more puppets. They'll gain ward, and then we're really able to prevent lethal, and we're also really able to prevent our other board from dying. So say, here's a great example. So say on 4 you go fighter, right? 5/5. They're not able to deal with it. And then you go Zwei and kill whatever they played last turn, right? And then you can go a couple puppets and keep the fighter alive even more, right? And your 3/3 Zwei. And that's just a really nice play and a really nice aggressive option that this deck has. I think this deck really plays almost like an aggro deck because all of your 2-drops are well statted and give you value, so you're able to just have complete control of the board in the first 4 turns. And then that pairs well with some of these cards that are like, you know, they are removal, right, because they clear boards, but they also set up these interesting boards that can protect your previous 1 through 4 plays. So Zwei is a really, really strong card, and you really want to see this on curve. But there are times where you don't want to play this on 5 because you don't have, like, a board to respond to, which is where all of these 2-drops come into play, and also, like, the Yudi comes into play. Like, on 5, but honestly, like, Yudi plus 2-drop is as good of a play as this Zwei, depending on if they have a board or not, right? So yeah, that is Zwei. Then, of course, we have Noah, just one of the best puppet cards in the game right now. Gives you a ton of removal, gives you buffs to your puppets to pair later with the Orcus. Like we talked about, one of the things is we do not need to hoard the evil points as much in this version of the deck. So Orcus is really going to be able to come down and in the late game, right on like turn 10, and not need an evil point because you can go, hey, Orcus, and here's like 2 enhanced puppets that were buffing Noah and maybe a normal buffed puppet, and you get storm damage that way. Obviously, you want to super evo every Orcus you see, right? But it's just a nice option. But other than that, this is just an insane tempo play. 5/6 that clears most boards and usually doesn't need an evo point. So really like Noah. Then we have 2 of Sylvia. This is a card I'd like to see go up to 3. We're seeing a lot of aggro, right? We've said that like 5 times this video. And this is an amazing anti-aggro tool. You can get the heal and then remove 2 things or 1 thing with a normal evil point. What was that sound? I think that was like a message in the Shadowverse game, but and really like that effect. And yeah, Sylvia is just a really strong card in this meta right now, and I would probably bump this up to 3. Then we have the new card Synchronious Hearts. This is basically a Heartless Battle remake a little bit. So 6-drop, summon a Lloyd and a Victoria. Lloyd, we know what it does, and then Victoria, of course, is the new token that Zwei summons. So it's basically going to be a 1/6 ward in front of a 6/1 Victoria that's basically going to nuke anything. Again, really like this play against aggro, and against a lot of decks, right? The 1/6 ward is actually a lot to deal with. And in the late games of a lot of these matchups, right, like against Sword, the 1/6 ward is really hard to deal with, and it prevents a lot of lethals, like Albert and stuff, right? So really like this card. I think this is not an amazing card, but it's just more copies of Victoria, which is one of the better cards we have right now in the deck. Obviously, Victoria's a token, but this is just kind of another way to summon it, and it's basically 4th and 5th copy of Zwei. That's kind of how you have to look at it. Then, of course, we have Odin here. Odin is one of the more impactful cards on the meta right now. 7-drop, 4/2, select an enemy card on the field and banish it, and then he has Storm. Just really lets us play more aggressively, kind of gives us another late game outside of Orcus, and basically lets you win games without Orcus, because he's basically just another Storm option. If you super evo him, he's going to give about the same damage as Orcus can give. Orcus can usually give 8 damage, but he usually does 7 if you super evolve him, right, and banishes something. But it's just a great option in the mid to late game, and then also in the late game to finish games out. And he's also just a great sort of checkmate card where it's like, okay, here on turn 7 I go Odin Super Evolve, and then they're at like 4 health, and it's like I have Orcus next turn, so you either have to heal or you're basically dead, right? So really, really, really like Odin. Definitely one of the cards that I would say try to craft, because it goes in basically every class. It's a very, very good card. And it's an easy replacement for, like, if you're missing other legendaries in, like, other decks. You just go, oh, well, Odin's just a really nice card that speeds the game up and is also removal. So, yeah, really like Odin. Yeah, he's just a really, really good card. And, of course, last but not least, we have probably still the best card in the game, Orcus, Newfound Heart. You guys know what Orcus does. I don't need to explain it, but this is, you know, Puppet, so we are able to play Orcus very, very well and very efficiently. And also, of course, we don't always need evil points for the Orcus, especially if we're lucky enough to draw 3, right? And we're in a really grindy game. We're going to have a lot of benefit from that because we're able to generate a lot of puppets beforehand and stuff that Artifact is, like, not really able to do. So that is the deck. Again, probably going to cut the Twin Blade Goblin, and might cut the one of Hinokkar and Jafner, and I would love to add another Sylvia and some other cards as well. I was thinking about potentially a one of Liam, just as like a one of, because there are a lot of late game scenarios where you do have evil points, not like intentionally hoarding them, but just, you know, you were able to get through the game without using evil points, and Liam is just a really nice boss monster to have in some matchups, especially if something like Control Abyss starts to become more popular. I think that going, you know, brick for brick, you know, in the high cost cards would be good. So that is the deck list, but we're going to go into a replay review. I'm going to show you a game I played on this 16-game win streak, and we're going to break down sort of my thoughts and stuff. And if you're watching this on the day of this video's release, later on tonight, we will be streaming. We'll see if I can keep that 16 win streak going. And then after that, I'm going to try some new decks. There's a Tempo Forest deck that's running around that I really want to try. I'm very excited to try that. And, you know, some other fun stuff, of course, on the stream, as always. So I will see you guys in the replay review, and I hope you enjoy. See ya. All right, here we are on the replay review. We are playing against Abyss. And Abyss is interesting because it's very popular on the ladder right now. Most of the time it's aggro, but sometimes it is that control mid-range variant where they're playing towards the late game with the Gensetsu and Yuzukis, and of course the Cerberus. So it's really important for us to identify the type of deck we're playing early on. But either way, we're going to sort of mulligan like it's aggro Abyss. So our hand right now is the Puppet Lancer, Odin, Medical Grade Assassin, and Yudi. And we're going first, right? I'm kind of covering that with the cursor. So this is an easy just throw Odin away. Odin, of course, is nice if we knew that this was like Control Abyss. But if it's aggro, we really don't want Odin in our hand. And we'd really love a different 2-drop than the Puppet Lancer on curve, like we kind of talked about in the deck breakdown. Puppet Lancer is an amazing 2-drop, but it's not awesome, and it's not the best play on curve. So we're going to throw the Odin back, and we're going to try to find another 2-drop, or even a Zwei would be great too, because if we do have to play the Puppet Lancer, it's still fine, it's still a 2-drop, but we're going to have some really nice plays where we go turn 2 Puppet Lancer, turn 3 Yudi or Medical Grade Assassin. Then on turn 4, we can play our other 3-drop and an enhanced Puppet, and then hopefully we go into 5 with our Zwei. So we're looking for another 2-drop or Zwei, and even like a Noah would be something, would be nice too. So we're going to throw Odin back, and we get the Puppet Theater. So that is nice because that is, like we were talking about, another 2-drop we can play. So obviously we have no play on 1, but we do draw the Noah, which is nice, kind of what we were talking about. So he played nothing on 1, and he's going second. So that immediately goes, okay, either this guy is super breaking. Actually, can we see if he redrew? He did not redraw. I actually did not do this in the game, but this is the interesting thing you can do is you can go and see how many cards he redrew. So the fact that he kept his hand and he didn't have a play on 2 kind of makes me go, okay, he's not aggro. Because if he was aggro and he kept his whole hand, he'd probably either have a 1-drop or at least would have extra play point 2-drop, right? If that makes sense. So we're basically pretty sure that he is not on aggro now. So now we can play a little slower. So we have an option in playing the Puppet Lancer or the Puppet Theater. I think both options are fine. Because he didn't play 1-drop, I would probably lean towards the Puppet Lancer just to get some stats on the board. But we would love to set up the Puppet Theater for the medical grade Assassin on 3. But of course, now we have 2 UDs, so we would like to play UD on 3 as well. Like, being able to go 2-drop and then UD on 3 and UD on 4 would be really sick. So we do end up playing the Puppet Lancer, and that kind of goes into our plan of playing the UD on 3 and then being able to go UD on 4 plus the Enhanced Puppet, right? And we're basically going to keep the Puppet Theater for later. And yeah, the Puppet Theater is really nice on 2, but sometimes it's a little hard to weave in to those mid-game turns. But yeah, so he's going to go Orthrus. So now we're pretty much like, okay, he is the control mid-range list. So now we're on 3. We're just going to easy peasy slam UD. This is the bonus we get for going first, right, is we're just able to kind of ignore what he's doing and just keep playing threats that they have to deal with, which is one of the big strengths of going first in this game, is we don't have to respond to anything because he has to respond to us. So now we go UD, kill Orthrus, pass, and then he has this 3-3 that he has 3 play points to deal with, or we're getting 3 damage in. And yeah, so that is one of the big strengths of going first. So then he goes Bone Mancer. So now we're like, okay, this guy's just mid-range or control. And of course, that is just kind of like a weak turn from him, right? So we do have an option. Now that we drew the Lovestruck Puppeteer, we can actually kill the Bone Mancer. So looking at our hand, we have no real way to speed the game up and end the game, right? Like, we don't have our fighter on 4 here, and we also do not have Orcus or Odin in our hand, right? So we're kind of looking at maybe a slower game. We'd really love to not play a slower game against Control Abyss, but we are just a little scared of getting run over. Or we also don't have an amazing turn 5 play. Our turn 5 play would probably look something like Hidekar and Jafner or UD Evo and play one of our 2-drops. We don't have Zwei, right? So in my mind right now, I am thinking I kind of want to deal with this Bone Mancer. Bone Mancer evolving is really annoying to deal with. So we do have an option to clear the board here. So we can go UD swing into the 1-2, play Lovestruck Puppeteer and the Puppet Theater room, and we get 2 puppets to clear the 2 skeletons, and that sets the theater up to keep generating our puppets for later. And of course, we do have the Noah, so it'd be really awesome to get some extra puppets with buffs. So that is going to be the play here. We could have also done a play, a similar play, and just go face. But again, I'm kind of worried about, we don't have an amazing turn 5 play. I really don't want them to Evo the Bone Mancer because it's just really annoying to deal with, and it's 3 extra face or whatever. And they also have the coin play here, where if they do go like coin gravy, Evo Bone Mancer, we are very far behind, and we have basically no way to answer that board cleanly and efficiently while also going ahead on board, right? So we're just gonna play the safe way, clear the Bone Mancer. We're like, hey, we missed 3 damage, but in the grand scheme of things, that's better than us sort of not having really nice plays. And also this, of course, sets up a board where they do have to go extra play point gravy. And if they don't have the extra play point gravy, then we're really far ahead, right? So their turn 4, they're just gonna slam the gravy, lose our board. But thankfully we have a really easy way to clear this board because we have the enhanced puppet. We do also have the Hidekar and Jafner, which is kind of interesting. But I think, again, like we talked about last turn, our hand is, we don't have all of the amazing cards in our hand, right? We're missing Zwei, we're missing Odin, and we're missing Orcus. So we're going to really want to draw here. So we're going to go UD, Enhanced Puppet. And then we have an option to Evo the UD to get some extra healing and also just present a bigger board for them to deal with. But I do think that is not the correct play here, because in this situation, because we're so far ahead, we're going first, we've been able to use that going first advantage we've taken no damage. So if we wanted to Evo Yudi here, we really want to draw, but we basically have no way of getting below 5 cards right now because all of our other cards give us cards in hand, right? So the best we could do is go like Puppet, Hinekar, and Jafner, and then hope we get a card that doesn't give us a card. Which is ironic because you usually don't want to hope that you get a card that doesn't draw you a card or give you a card, right? So we're gonna hold off on Evo and Yudi, but if we were behind or we were going second, I think Evo and Yudi would be an interesting play. He's gonna go Orthrus, Bone Mancer again. We are getting closer to that Cerberus turn, so Bone Mancer is even more of a threat to deal with. He could also Evo over the Yudi here. I think that's what he does. No, he does not. He leaves the Yudi up, which is kind of interesting. This makes me think he is more full control than mid-range, right? Because he's like, hey, I want to save my Evo points for the super late game. Want to get to that spot in the game where I am just going, like we kind of talked about, brick for brick with the puppet player and spend all those Evos in the late game. And also, I think he might think that I am not on this more aggressive version with the Odins and stuff, so he doesn't really have to be worried about some crazy damage out of hand, right? But yeah, so now looking at our hand, we have a lot of options to do. We're really looking at the Noah here because we'd love to keep the Sylvia, and we'd love to also Evo the Yudi and swing 5 face. Right, because we do not have our Odin or Orcus, and we do need to kind of speed the game up at this point, right? Because he's like, okay, he's shown me that he's control. We don't have the options to really out-control in the late game right now, so we kind of just have to beat him down, right? So we're going to want to try to do an Noah play, and we have a way to clear the board without, wasting any puppets. So we're going to play the double puppets, and then we're going to go Noah, and then we'll just take it from there. I'll show you how this turn plays out. So we go double puppets, Noah, get all our buffed puppets. Then we go play a new puppet, swing that into the 2 thing. Then we play the other puppet, kill the Bone Mancer. Then we have our 2 first puppets, kill the skeletons, and we still have a 2 attack puppet left, which is really nice. And then, of course, now that we're so far ahead, our board is 3-3 and a 5-6, we're just going to Evo the Yudi, swing 5, put him to 15, and now he has this really insane board that he has to deal with, and that was kind of the downside of him not Evoing to clear this Yudi, right? So we're just going to go swing 5, now we have a 5-5, 5-6, really hard to deal with. He could go extra play point Medusa, right? But he's actually going to go Sharon. This is pretty good here. So I think those were the only reses he could get. Yeah, so he only had 2 Orthruses in the pool. So he goes Orthrus and then gets a skeleton, right? And then he can super evolve the Sharon, and he's going to end up resing a Bone Mancer if he does that, which again is scary for us because that plays really well into the Cerberus turn. So I believe that's what he's going to do. Yeah, he's going to go Super Evo, probably swing over the Noah. And now he has a pretty good board, right? He has, oh, and he goes extra play point filled out. That's interesting. And I think that is because later on, next turn he plays another Sharon, spoilers. And I think he really wants to fill out in the pool for that res. But that is a pretty interesting play, kind of going wide. He knows that I only have 1 puppet left in hand. And this is kind of a hard board for us to clear, right? 2 boards, 7-7, but of course we do have that Sylvia in hand, which is going to come up. So Sylvia here, this is really important. So, again, we're only at 19 health, so, and we have the UD thing, so we can heal. We don't want to heal, but we really want to draw into our Orcus. Still don't have Orcus 15 cards later, and we still don't have Odin 15 cards later either, but we do have to play the Sylvia to clear the board. We're going to, do I Super Evo? I might just normal Evo. So there's a couple options we have. We could Super Evo, clear the 7-7 and the 2-2, and then swing over the 1-1 and then the 2-2 as well, or play a puppet and swing over one of them, or ignore the board and sort of just go 5 face, right? But we're going to Super Evo, cleared those 2, play our puppet, and clear the board, and then go 5 face. And now he's at basically 9 health, right? And we have a really nice board. Oh, actually, that's interesting. I forgot we did this. Yes. So the Goblin actually ended up coming up because we were able to, instead of using the Puppet, which we'd really like to save for Orcus, and yeah, this is definitely the better play. I forgot I did this. Because now if we top deck Orcus, we pretty much just win if we keep the Puppet in hand, right? So the Goblin coming up a little bit, right? We kind of talked about it in the deck breakdown. He doesn't come up too he doesn't come up too often, but when he does, it's usually with the Sylvia Super Evo. So you know what? Now he's at 9 health. He has 3 cards in hand. We are really far ahead. Of course, he gets that res off the Bone Mancer. And here, if he res the Fildau, he would be in a really good spot, but unfortunately, he does not. He's going to Super Evo the Orthrus, and it's going to hit the Goblin and the Sylvia. Or, sorry, yeah, the Goblin and Sylvia, he'll swing over the Yudi. And now we just have lethal with a lot of ways, but we're going to do Fildau, Super Evo, kill the Orthrus, swing into the Skeleton, and then swing 8 face. And that will be the game. This definitely showed the strength, right? Was there some place he probably could have done differently? Yes. But this definitely shows the strength of the resource advantage, right? Because he ran out cards very fast, and we still have basically almost a full hand. And, you know, he was playing sort of the aggro version. That's also one of the downsides of Abyss, like I've talked about a lot, is Abyss does not have a lot of good card draw. But yeah, this is sort of the deck, and it shows that you can win without Orcus or even Odin, right? Just sort of playing to the board, playing that tempo play style, and just making your opponent just have to make awkward trades and always trying to be ahead on the board. That is the key to the win for Puppet Portal. But yeah, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys maybe learned a little bit about one of my favorite decks right now, Puppet Portal. Let me know if you guys are going to try this deck. You pretty much only need, I say only, it's, you know, 6 new legendaries, but Odin and Zwei. I have some lists, I have seen some lists not playing Zwei, which is kind of interesting to me. I think Zwei is one of the better cards. But, yeah, this is a very fun deck, and I would give it a whirl if you are interested. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Make sure to drop by the stream later on if you want to see this win streak continue or some other new decks as well. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.